This episode of Catch the Craze is sponsored by
Eager Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, Issue 3 is now on Kickstarter. Eager Raven, a half-unicorn, half-human princess, is forced from her enchanted kingdom of Edenron into one of the outer kingdoms of men. Eager Raven is unsure how she can help her people, but a chance encounter with a noblewoman and her unusual lady-in-waiting reveals a path more treacherous than fighting the Dragon Lords themselves. Please check out Eager Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn on Kickstarter today.
He killed his father. A curse on his people. Betraying his family in search of the truth. Awakening the evil behind the curse. Now they must race to save their people. Or die trying.
What's up, George? What's going on in the House of Craze today?
In the House of Craze today, we have a special guest, Mr. Bryant Lambert. He is the writer of Justice, and we're going to have him on the show. We're going to be talking to him about his project and projects, and we're also going to have a very special Get Your Meds today about indies, and we're going to put a little spotlight on you guys.
Say what?
That's going to be fun. Check it out.
Turn on the spotlight. Let's get it!
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your meds, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the craze. If you are an independent, catch the craze. Making moves on your own, catch the craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the craze. Join the movement, catch the craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George the Dreamer Medina. What's cracking? What's happening? What's going on?
What's happening, man?
What's happening?
Yes. Another day, another nickel.
And the nickel. Yo, man, good things are coming today. We have a very exciting show. Thank you and welcome everyone to another show. Catch the Craze is on. Please make sure you subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe. Hit that thumbs up if you're watching right now. Hit that thumbs up. Hit us on pause. Hit the thumbs up. Go back. Let's get it popping.
That's right. Subscribe. Hit that little bell. Make sure that you get updated whenever we have a new show coming on, which is every Friday. And then on Mondays we have the Craze and 10 or Less.
Yes, so
we're gonna be going into what's in the box pretty soon, right? You're gonna be going into that.
Yes,
we have
once
live
I find
interviews.
all those comics that I packed.
we have live interviews that we do a bunch, especially for Kickstarters and all of that other fun stuff. So make sure you check that out. We had a very, very fun show with a couple of artists a couple of weeks ago that we did live. That's in the archive, so check that out. Yeah, so we have a lot of stuff going on. If you haven't checked out last week's episode, we had Mr. John Hervey on the show, Beyond Time Comics. Very fun interview, so check that out. And today we have another fun interview coming up. So that is coming down the pike today. We are running a little late today, though, because we recorded in the past. We were recording something else.
Yeah.
It went a little long, and
So before we start to take our medicine, I just do want to say we started off with the trailer to Forbidden, which launches November 1st on Kickstarter. This is for Volume 1 graphic novel. It's the first 3 editions collected into one trade. So you want to be there or be square. There's only 2 covers available. Actually, 3 covers. I forgot. Because it's the trade cover, there's the floppy cover, and then there's the special cover that I did. And so, yeah, I was still working on the trade cover. So, yeah, we got to get that going. But, yes, and we're introducing a new artist, Prime Santra. So he's gonna kick off into the Forbidden Realm and take off where Anibel left off. So it's going to be popping. With that said, I'm feeling a little feverish, and I think it's time to get my medicine. Right?
It's time for your medicine.
The homage cover? No. Don't! That's the wrong one. But while we're talking, I would look for it.
Wait, I thought we were quiet because it was coming on.
I was like,
Damn.
¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó?
¿Qué pasó, man?
What happened? What happened? What's
Herb is
up?
reading the comics.
I
Reading
know.
the comics you can't find.
What's happening? It still comes up that.
Oh, no. Wow. We know where we're at. We know what we're doing. Do we need it anymore?
No, we don't need it anymore.
I think the moment's gone. The moment's gone.
Yeah.
Let's just get into it.
From
Today,
this moment,
today
I
we're gonna be
screwed it up.
we're gonna be shouting some people's out.
Yes.
And that is our fellow indies. We're putting a spotlight on y'all.
Oh.
Now listen, Sam had a Crazy Antenna Less a few weeks ago that you guys had to check out. And I think it was a necessary thing to say, because as podcasters, we need all of the support we can get. Okay, just like indies do. But when you're an indie coming to a podcast, you should, help that platform or that podcast grow so that you, as an artist, can be seen by more and more people. Word of mouth is a big, big deal. Right. So yeah, I figured we'd start off. We start talking about that. Today we continue the conversation on that, and you said some important things that needed to be said. Sam, do you want to add to some of the stuff you said before we continue here?
Say what you need to say. I'm saying stop acting up. So basically, the purpose of me doing that episode was because we've experienced it, and our peers have. And I was watching. There's some shows, there's some podcasters that I really dig, and I think they're really good at what they do. To name a few: Raging Cajun, Nerds Around, the Creators Outlet, Rusplode. I mean, there's just a lot of cats. But when we look at how many people they've interviewed in the game, and we look at their subscriber base, those independents have not given them the support that they've given them in return. So as an independent creator, I think it's the least thing you can do when you're reaching out to somebody who's not making money off of this. So you're not monetized on YouTube unless you start breaking past 1,000, and that 1,000 doesn't give you big bucks. You got to get to the thousands to start bringing in cash, but at least it allows you to start selling stuff on YouTube and start generating some funds. If you have what is that thing where you can subscribe to? I forget the name of where people can pay to be part of your thing. Anyway,
Patreon. Yeah,
Patreon. You can put your Patreon links there. All these things that YouTube will enable you to do. So when you look at how many people, how many independents will take the time to reach out to the podcaster, send them the press release saying, hey, can I come on your show? I'd like to promote, send them images. So now that podcaster has to create the images, do the editing, upload, create, go on there. They're paying for their streaming services. They paid for their equipment. And the independent comes on the show, leaves, doesn't promote the show that they were just on, and doesn't subscribe to the show that they were just on. I think that's the biggest insult that you can do, because you're not paying to subscribe. It's free. It's free. To create an account, to subscribe, it's free. And that's the least you could do to help that independent grow, because that independent took an hour out of their day to spotlight you, but even more than that, to create the promos to put on their social platforms and post and spend that time, that half hour, to go on all their social media to post you, create that image, all that stuff that they're not getting anything in return. And the return and investment is you telling your followers to support them and you doing the same and not backing out after you go on the show. And we see that as well. Indie creators will go on the show and they'll subscribe. A week later, they'll desubscribe because they're no longer on the show, right? But that show stays online forever, and it's streaming. Like our show streams on all audio platforms. So we're on iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Google Play. We're on Podbean. We're anywhere that we can stream audio-wise is there. Then it's on YouTube streaming forever and Facebook, and then we do promos and all this other stuff. And so we've interviewed hundreds of indies, and 50% of them subscribed. 50%. So there's another percentage out there that never gave back the love that we gave, and that's where the frustration comes into play. It's like, yo, what's up? What kind of relationship is this? Because if we grow our audience, you expand your reach when you come on our show, but we need you to do that too. And that's why I brought it up.
No, I think that part of that, and the most important, one of the most important, because there's a lot of things that you said that was important, but one of the most important, or one of the ones that stands out to me the most, is that you are failing to do something that's not going to cost you a thing.
Right.
It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe to a channel. It literally is free. Like you don't even pay a subscription for YouTube. Or you are limited to how many channels you can subscribe to before you start getting charged. So it's not like, yeah, man, I can't charge that channel. I can't subscribe to that channel because I only have 5 more subscriptions before they start, charging me for them. No, it's all free. So when you don't do it, it's more of a slap in the face because it's not even worth a free subscription. Like that's just crazy. And the other thing you said was when you unsubscribe or desubscribed or stop subscribing, however you want to call it, when you take the time to look through your list of channels you're subscribing to and hit the one that promoted your book, that is crazy to me. Why? There's just too much clutter on here. Well, then get rid of get rid of that Marvel subscription or whatever is posting, about whatever other thing that is not supporting you at all. Get rid of that one because that's not supporting you at all. So, we hate, it sounds like we're on a soapbox here, but okay, here's the other thing. Right? Here's the other thing. I'm a very positive dude. I like to think that maybe our indie friends, maybe they're shy or maybe they just don't know how or what they should be doing to promote or help themselves promote.
Optimist.
Right? So I figured, let me give them 5 ways to help the podcast that they're in promote themselves. Okay, so here we go.
Oh, here we go, yo. So what's
number one, and this is not particular order, it's just what popped into my head. This is the most obvious one, right? You let the people your family members, your friends, the people who support you, who say, yeah, man, you got this, you can do this. Let those people know that you will be on a show before it even airs. Give them the show's YouTube channel, other platforms like Sam just said, iHeartRadio, there's plenty of people who have Apple iTunes. There are plenty of people who already pay for Spotify. And again, there's no limit to how many things you can subscribe to. Give them that information so that they can follow it. All right, they subscribe to it so that they're ready for when your interview comes up. Because guess what? They want to support you, right? So they're going to subscribe to those things. That helps grow the channel. So that now grandma is telling her friends, hey, my granddaughter is going to be on this show. You guys should watch it. You guys should listen to it. I'm very proud of them. Uncle, aunts, they're telling their people, my nephew, my niece, they're going to be on this show. Now that platform is growing. It's that simple. Just let people know. That to me, that's one of the ways. What do you have, Sam? What's one way that people can help the podcast that they're on promote them and the podcast?
You subscribe.
Yes.
You subscribe. Hit that button, homie. What are you doing? What's up with that, yo? I want to eat too. Yo, I spent all this time talking about you. I spent all this time talking about you. So how about show me some love? So, you know what, Sam? I got you. You want George? I got you. the dreamer, the crazy man, I got you. But you diss and dismiss us when you don't give the love back in return. It's like, yo, I don't understand this. I don't understand. I invited you to my house. I gave you food from my kitchen. I fed you, gave you a warm place, right? I come down the block. I'm hungry. I see you in a restaurant with your boys. I'm like, hey, what's up? Yo, I'm busy right now. Come later. I'll talk to you another time. But there's an empty seat. That's for somebody else. Don't worry about it. You keep it moving. Yo, what's up?
Disrespect.
Yo, it's like 3 o'clock, schoolyard. You and me. That's it. So it's the least you can do as an independent if you're contacting us to come on this show that we work really hard to promote. And look, we ain't the hottest thing in the game, but we hustle. Every day we're hustling. We hustle for you. We hustle. We create stuff to promote you out of love. So just, hit subscribe, bro.
Subscribe.
That's it, man. Oh, subscribe, man. That's it. That's it. Wait, hold on. Tell him. Subscribe, homie. Subscribe.
Number three. Promote the fact that you will be on the show on your social media with posts about the show.
Yo.
You don't even have to create it. Just write in there, hey, I will be on this show. Go to @CatchTheCraze. Link is in their bio. You don't even have to put a link on your bio. The link is on their bio. Just go there and just do what you got to do. So promote the fact that you will be on the show on your social. We all have social medias. And if you're an independent artist and you don't have one, you already messed up. You already messed up. All right? Yo. So I know you have it.
Let me school you, youngin.
Make sure you promote it. You promote it on your own social networks.
Yeah, I'm talking about, and some of you know who you are because we had some guests that didn't do jack. Nobody knew they were ever on this show from their end.
Blast.
Never. And then, if you're wondering why you're the least viewed episode on our show, because you didn't do your job.
Bright light.
You didn't do your people didn't know you were on the craze. All right, so
it's crazy.
The only person you got to blame, don't just think because we're the craze that we got it like that, and we got like an army out there of soldiers that are just going out there to promote you. You got to do it too. It's got to be two. It's a relationship, two ways.
Promote the fact that you'll be on the show. Right, what's number 3? What do you got, Sam? Number 3.
Number 3. I need like stress medicine.
Stress medicine, bro.
So what we said, tell your people that follow you, right? We said subscribe yourself,
subscribe to the channel,
and you promote yourself, right?
Yeah. What do you got?
Number 4. Let me see. Number 4. Oh, don't desubscribe when you subscribe. What's up with that? What's up with that? Man. Yo, hold on.
Oh, you crazy?
You crazy, homie? How you gonna go and subscribe and then desubscribe a week later? They're not looking, right? And don't keep your account private so that we know that you're there legitimately. And you know how you can help us grow? Support the other indies that are on our show. Join the chat once in a while. We go live, join the chat, comment, show some love. We got some newbies that have been joining us and they're showing love. Show some love for your fellow indies, man. You know what I'm saying? Get in the game because the algorithms are real, right? And they make it harder and harder and harder. So as a come up, as an independent, see if we came up a long time ago, we'd be a staple in the system. But we disappeared and we came back. So that means YouTube wants comments. They want likes. They want viewing. They want to see how long viewing time. All those things matter. And if we're not building that audience and we're having hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of guests on our show, and those hundreds of people aren't helping us grow, why are we doing this? So if you're gonna subscribe, stay in the game. Stay on the boat
and
with
stay
us.
on the game and be active. Stay on the game and be active.
Yeah.
Be active on it. Don't just be a silent participant.
Yeah, some out of you, man.
That's right. And then the final thing, you said something, Sam. You spend a lot of time creating these little the little posts, the little images and everything like that. And so I say to you, contact the show and see if they have any promotional material that they already created to say they can send it over to you so you can post that up. Right. Request any promotional material, maybe a link or a clip of the interview once it's already up. It's already there. Everything's already. All you gotta do is, hey guys, you guys have any material that I can post? You don't even have to create it. They already created it for you. Just request it. Just request, open line of communications. Request. You will get it in a message. Post it on your channels. It's that simple.
We tag you. We tag you. Repost what we posted.
It's that simple.
Boom.
It is that simple. It is that simple. Listen, I was on a couple of shows in the last few months. I've been on a few shows. Nerds of the Round, big shout out to them because they open up their channel to us at all times. No, but they say, hey, come on down, guys. Raging Cajun, they are amazing. Lita and Meredith, amazing. Okay. When I went on their show, I posted their link on my website. I posted their link on my social networks. It was that easy. I'm just posting it on there so that people can just click, and because it benefits me. It benefits me if people are watching my interview, and at the same time it benefits them because they're getting views. But subscribe. Don't just go watch it. Subscribe. Make sure you tell your people to subscribe because they'll listen to you. They'll listen to you. So, for those indies that have, maybe they, like I said, I'm a positive person. Maybe they just didn't know how. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's how. We watch this bad boy. Is bad. It is that simple. It is that simple.
Yes.
Indie Spotlight. Yeah.
So here's my thing. If you're watching and you've been on the show and you haven't subscribed, show some love and say, you know what, Sam, my bad. Same thing happened. Nita, she's like, my bad. I've been, I know you subscribed to my show ways back and I didn't subscribe back. So I'm subscribing now. I said, don't worry, it happens because I got caught out there because, Mark came from the radio. He's like, I subscribed to your show. You never subscribed, hit me up. I was like, oh,
big shout out to Mark.
So it happens, right? I got caught out there. Yeah. So it happens. No harm, no foul, but go back. Go, thunk. Hit that subscribe button. There's no reason why indies can't dominate today. And the craze has been in the game for a minute. So show your boys some love. We're not asking you to give us money, homie. We just asking you to hit subscribe. Bang. That's it.
Nobody's asking for anything other than a subscription, which is free.
Yes.
And stay.
Yes.
Stay. Don't go anywhere.
Yes.
Stay.
Yes.
Stay.
So
you don't have to, dude, you don't even have to watch it. Just stay.
Just stay. Yes, and I see that our guest is in the waiting room. That was another episode of Get Your Meds.
Yes.
With that said, we're going to cut to commercial. And again, if you're trying to promote, we got a way for you to do that.
Are you sitting at home wondering how you're going to spread the word about that Comic-Con that you're about to appear at? And you want to get some press? How about your first book signing? How do you spread the word so you can get an audience there? Or that first panel at a Comic-Con. Who do you talk to? Or even your first crowdfunding on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. The world is turning to podcasting to get the word out. Why not you? Sponsor an episode of Catch the Craze and start promoting yourself today.
All right.
What's going on?
What's going
up, Brian?
on?
All right, there we go. Give me 1 second. Let me set my video and everything up.
Not a problem.
So welcome back, everybody. We are here with Bryant Lambert. We're going to be talking to him about his projects. And man, welcome. Thank you for coming on the show, Brian. Appreciate you, man.
Man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, man. I know how busy things are, how crazy the world in general is, man. So I appreciate it.
No problem. Love the shirt.
Oh, thank you, man. I'm really proud of where it's come, man. If you had seen the original scribble of this, you know what I mean? Like, it's leaps and bounds, man.
Nice. So you
awesome,
wear a lot of hats, but before we talk about all your hats, we want to get to know you and go down memory lane. So let's go back to the beginning when you were just a budding seedling and you were just navigating in this world. So who are you? Where'd you come from? Let's tell your story.
I'm a humble man. I'm from San Pedro, California, man, and San Pedro is one of those towns, right? It's like it's a port town, and it's one of those places. It's like everybody will give you the shirt off their back,
yes,
but then they'll also tell you how to wear it. You know what I mean? So it's like it's one of those places where there's nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like if you grow up like that, it's awesome. Been reading comic books my whole life, obviously. I think like most of us have been, in some form or fashion. That X-Men era, that Jim Lee X-Men era, that Image era, obviously it comes across in the stuff that I'm doing now. It was just, yeah, man, it was just everything for me, honestly, man. It was just so dope. It was like, I feel like it was like a rock star era of, of comics in general. Like, I mean, I love the golden age. I love the silver age. Like, all that stuff is cool too. But growing up in that 90s period was something real special in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, grew up with those comics, like every slacker that also played football, you know what I mean? Like, I had comics in my backpack, but was, trying to be a jock as well. Went to school, kind of scrubbed out, wasn't really, I really wasn't, the next level wasn't for me at the time. Went to work, did everything, and kind of circled back around the school, which, ended up being a boon, and ended up getting multiple degrees, which was like an accomplishment for me personally. But it also set me on this path of comic books, man, because it really made it like, again, in the 90s, right? Like, you could see somebody like the Wachowskis, for example. They went from doing comic books to making The Matrix, right? But like, no one knew. And at that point, like, how did you get into the comic industry? Because you knew somebody, you happened to meet somebody, something at a con maybe, or, you know what I mean? Like, it was seriously happenstance. But again, man, we're in, 2010, 2015, 2016, 2021, like the internet has opened up so much and social media has opened up so much. And so I was able to kind of leverage my novel writing. I wrote a novel, Ascension, the Crucian Saga. It ended up winning an award. So that helped me like leverage that into like, oh man, I can make comics, because then I can come in and say, hey, I'm a award-winning author, blah, 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 blah. This is what I want to do. And I actually pitched that a couple times to a couple projects. Some worked, some didn't. And then I said to myself, like, why don't you just do it yourself? Now you've met the artists, you've met the people. Why don't you build? Why don't you, create what you want to see, as opposed to kind of somebody else's vision all the time? Right. And I just kind of jumped from there, man. Honestly, like, I made it happen from there, and I've been fortunate and blessed.
That's amazing, man. You mentioned the 90s, and I think that what that era did for us was, while you said, while the golden age and the silver age and golden age were great for as a fan, right? That 90s era made us believe that we can do it ourselves now.
Yeah, right? Man.
It opened up that door. It was like, okay, the guys have been doing it for a while. These guys came in, these rock stars of the genre are now making us believe that we can put out our own, create our own projects. What were some of your favorite books of the 90s? And who was your favorite, I guess, I'm going to say who was, and I don't know if you're a fan of Image, but who was your favorite Image, I guess, founder that you kind of were like, yo, I like that?
So, I mean, I guess a couple ways. So one, I'm a big Jim Lee guy. I have Mutant Genesis. Like, a lot of people keep books or things, what they call their Bibles while they create. One of mine is Mutant Genesis. If I'm having a problem lettering or getting a plot or seeing how it should be laid out, I'll flip through Mutant Genesis and be like, oh, that's how it should be, So I keep that one on deck all the time. And I think that anybody who kind of grows up our age, in that era, and doesn't say Jim Lee is at the top of their list, at least art-wise, like, bro, you're lying to yourself. Like, stop it. Right. Or you're just doing the thing where it's like, oh, I hate everything that everybody else likes. That's all it is. So Jim Lee is obviously very, very high on there. I love the look of Wildcats. And Jim Lee, if you're watching this, if you happen to see this, man, I'm sorry. I love the look, the story. It floundered a bit, you know what I mean? But I also love seeing, Wildcats, and then seeing like Youngblood. Dude, it was like issue 5 where you had like that huge crossover, right, with Hellspawn and stuff. So like, I just thought that was amazing, right, to start off like that. I'm a big Todd McFarlane fan, and not as much. It might sound weird because I mean I do have issue 1 through 10 of that original Spawn run, still in bags or whatever. But I'm more of a fan of like him than I am of Spawn even. So David Hine is also great, who came around later, and I got to give him shout outs, because if you read any of Justice or that stuff, you can see the influence of like McFarlane, of early Frank Miller, of David Hine and his Armageddon arc and Spawn. And I just think that McFarlane himself, like McFarlane was so smart. The toy company, right? McFarlane Toys. Oh, I'm not writing for Marvel or DC anymore. I'm not drawing for Marvel or DC anymore. Cool, I'll just make all your toys that like I wanted to make anyway. So he's still doing sketches, still, you know what I mean? Like, I respect that part of it. It's really dope. Issue number 10 of Spawn is probably like the issue to me that was, I don't know, man, it was just something amazing about it. It's the one with Cerebus in there. And back when we were young, back when I was young, I'm not gonna age you guys. Back when I was young, Wizard number 25 came out, and in it had a contest, and it was like the Spawn Wall of Hands. And if you could name all the hands, you send in the postcard, and you were entered for the contest. Bro, I remember flipping through that Wizard magazine like until I destroyed it, like until it, you know what I mean? Like it's. I literally had to order another one earlier this year because it's destroyed.
Wow.
But that was like an iconic moment for me, and I've never forgotten that. And like you said, like to your point, I think that when they broke off, I remember some of the advertisement. It really was like, oh hey, Picture Comics, Image Comics, anybody can do it. Like none of us as children got in there, right? But like it was still the opportunity of like, hey, send us your stuff, we might like it, and it just felt. I don't know. It just felt amazing. I'll be honest with you. Like there was just something about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely, man. Did you was your writing influenced by any of that '90s? I know you wrote a novel, but like were you kind of like influenced by any of those stories? Like even now with Justice, for example, and some of the work that you've done. Do you still find yourself thinking back, like you say, you pick up that book for the lettering, and I want to talk about your lettering also. But as far as your writing, do you find you're going back into the '90s for some of those?
Definitely. So again, man. Okay, so and I make this distinction all the time, like early Frank Miller. Like I love The Dark Knight Returns. I love his stuff on Daredevil. When we start getting into like The Dark Knight Strikes Back, that's when he loses me. You know, I mean, I still have it, but you know, like early Frank Miller, that very noir style of you've got like exposition up top,
right?
You know, and then they're doing the actions. I love that style. I love Mark McFarlane's use of Christian mythology, and that's something that I'm really, again, very, very specific about because okay, Justice is an angel. Justice is, you know, blah 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 blah. So when people see that, sometimes they immediately think it's a religious comic book or a faith-based comic book, and I have to remind them like no one calls Spawn a faith-based comic book, even though it uses your heaven, hell, and blah 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 Christian mythology. So I definitely. While they're completely different mythologies and ways we look at it, seeing Frank do that first, seeing McFarlane do that first, kind of opened it up for me. Like, okay, this is possible. I can use this base of knowledge that I have, you know what I mean? And that background in the church or whatever to like tell a very compelling story. So definitely. I love, like I said, I love Jim Lee stuff that he did back then, but like, Jim Lee leaned more towards like X-Men the cartoon, which is like these punchy stories that kind of just move and you kind of don't know why. Right. And some of these other writers really, you know, fill it out. Neil Gaiman. I mean, dude, if I could ever get Neil Gaiman to read something of mine, like I'm kicking over tables, like I'm going nuts, right? Like but he's a heavy influence. Jurgens and Breeding, even though I know they're a team, right? But like the work they did on Death of Superman. Like the entire last comic is all splash pages. I didn't notice that until like 10 years after it came out, like as an adult, to be like, damn, you know what I mean? So that, I mean, I think that's a feat of writing, especially like once you get on the scripting side of comics where you're like, oh man, this takes more time and more work than like, oh, Superman punches that guy does the backflip, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're
nice.
100% right.
Nice. So what led you to the point where you decided, I want to create my own comic company?
Necessity, honestly, right? Sometimes, and I'm glad that we're in the age that we are, right? For all the things that go wrong, we're in a very good place where if you have a plan, if you put things together, you can do a lot yourself. Obviously, you can't do it all. There are no self-made billionaires. There are no, you know what I mean? Self-made, you've got to have things happen along the way, but you can do the grassroots stuff by yourself. So I leveraged I have a master's degree in entertainment business, and jumping into this entertainment business, which I didn't consider comics like that at first, right? But then you get into it and you're like, oh no, this is definitely entertainment and it's definitely business. So jumping into that, at an indie level, at a small level, you have to compare what are people doing for you that you're not doing for yourself, and what can they potentially do for you when you're talking about whether or not you want to start your own business. I got into a place where I was doing a lot of things. I was doing a lot of marketing and a lot of copy writing and in addition to the comic stuff. So it just made sense to like say, hey man, like, you know, let's go all in. You know, do you believe in yourself? Do you not? And I'm not saying that that's an easy road. 100% not saying that. 100% admitting that I have doubts. 100% admitting that I battle imposter syndrome. 100% admitting that it's not an easy course, but it is possible. And, honestly, even in my regular job, I don't like people telling me what to do or like that. So the way to, in my personal life, the way to get past that is to be in charge.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
You mentioned imposter syndrome, and that I've never heard it said that way. How do you battle? Tell us what that is. Okay, for those who don't know, and tell us how you battle that syndrome. What do you do to kind of like, combat that?
Imposter syndrome is where you never believe you are good enough, right? They won't buy my product. No one's gonna like me. Everyone hates me. Those kinds of things, and obviously that's like a layman's version of it. But that's the big part of just feelings of inadequacy, right? Like overwhelming feelings of inadequacy. And how do I battle that? I annoy the hell out of my girlfriend. I rack my brain about whatever campaign is going on, and I get it to the best place that I can. But even as we're running a campaign right now, and I'm running a campaign right now, I mean, I have 3 or 4 friends that are like, okay, so you're freaking out. Like, no, I'm not. Well, yes, I am. But no, I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes some of these things are facts of life, right? So you've got to, I don't know, there is no try and true method. Calm yourself. Listen to some ASMR. You know what I mean? Get that lavender infuser. You know what I mean? Like diffuser or whatever. You know what I mean? Like whatever it takes. Because if you do your best job, right, and if you take whatever the thing is to the furthest you can take it, after researching, after practicing, after training, because people also don't think that this stuff is training. If you're an artist, right, every day that you draw, you're training yourself. It's not just like, oh, I just do this. It's training. Every day that you write as a writer is training. Like all these things that we practice, like people call them practice, and we give athletics like training. You know what I mean? But it's really all training. And if you've done all the things you're supposed to do, all the things that you know to do, and you put it out for the world, yeah, there are going to be people who don't like it. And that sucks, right? It hurts because you're putting a piece of your soul out there. But there are going to be those people that do like it and do want to be a part of it. And that's what you have to focus on. And that's what you have to remember. And you have to remember the love of what you're doing, which is super hard when dealing with all of that, but you just have to, I don't know, you got to hold on to that grain, that one little small thing, because I mean, that's really the light in the darkness.
Yeah, no, it's a scary place sometimes to feel that inadequacy. And it is a scary place. And some people can't get out of it or look beyond it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that I mentioned this because I have friends who feel this way. And I think that part of it also is finding somebody else to help you kind of get through it. You have your girlfriend, for example. I talk to Sam just about every day. You know what I mean? Like, I think that sometimes you need that gym partner, right? That guy that, that person that you're going to go to the gym with to do the training that you need to do. Otherwise you may not go because I don't really have to be held accountable for anything at that point. But I love that message, man. And I think that's very important for people who are listening, who maybe have that or are going through that. These are some of the things that, maybe work. They work for, for you, for me. They may not work for you, but try them. You never know, right?
One of the, also we get, sorry, and I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go for it.
We also get this thing with the internet now, right? It's very, very simple to say something on the internet. And it's very, very easy. People, if you don't like something, most of the time, all you gotta do is keep scrolling, right? Like, if it's not offensive, if it's not dangerous to other people, just keep scrolling, right? But people don't want to do that. People, we have a need for community. And sometimes that need for community is to give input on things that you don't need to. Right? Like things that are going to be hurtful to people or hateful, you never know how it's going to feel. And honestly, you got to turn that stuff off, you and it's not easy, right? If someone, and I had someone years ago, oh, he looks just like Bishop. And I was like, because they're both black, right? And you get into that mode of like wanting to go off, right? Like you want to go back and forth because you're offended because it's something that's so dear to your soul.
Right.
But you have to remember, like, it's not dear to their soul. They just said something because, you know what I mean? Frankly, they are who they are. They're going through whatever they're going through. Yeah. And you can't let that energy bring you down, which it 100% does. How many times do you see some random post that's got 3,000 comments and it's something crazy? because people are feeding off of that negative energy as opposed to the post that's dope and everybody feeding off the positive energy. They just take the positive energy with a grain of salt and keep it deuces. So you can't let yourself as a creator do that. We do too many highs and lows already. You can't fall into that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. But it's also like it's a little more challenging for you because you're not just a creator, but you're a business owner, and so you dove into a few ponds, and you're navigating as a publisher. So you're responsible for your brand and others that work underneath your banner. Plus, you're responsible for your own creation as well. So, how do you maintain the focus, given the fact that you're doing two things?
Thank you for assuming and believing that I maintain focus. That's very nice of you. No, I think you have to be adept at changing, right? Like you've just got to move sometimes. One of the first things I did going into this though was I wrote like the first 4 issues of Justice, like out the gate.
Right.
Because I wanted to give myself, hey man, give yourself a year because you'll have like a year of time, you know, with 4 issues. And that was going off of, you know, I was kind of basing that off of, well, you know, if I'm lucky, I can put out, you know, an issue a quarter. Now that's before I picked up any other authors, any other projects, anything else. So that was a real boon. That was very, very helpful. The other part of it, and it is difficult. At the end of the day, we are artists. We are temperamental. We are sensitive. And I say we because I am one of them too. You come at me wrong on the wrong time, on the wrong day, and I'm just, you know, it's craziness, right? But maybe you say the same thing the next day, and I'm like, all right, whatever, no big deal. We're so in tune to dealing in our passions as opposed to dealing with our passions.
Right.
You know, our heart and soul is put into our art, but we don't realize how our heart and soul comes across sometimes when we're speaking to each other as artists. So it's not, again, it's not difficult. No, excuse me, it is difficult, but it's not like insurmountable. Sometimes you have to take a step back and say, what's the best thing? I have an animation project that I'd really, really dearly like to work on right now, but I had to step back and say, hey, what's the best thing? Okay, then we'll wait. You know, okay, we can do this. We can launch this at the beginning of 2022, as opposed to trying to squeeze it in and get it done now. Business, in my opinion, is king because creativity will always be there, but business won't, right? You get a shot here, you get a shot there, and those business avenues close. Creativity comes from you. So you're always going to have that as long as you want to have that. Business opportunities come from outside. So you may or may not have them. And the focus, honestly, and the goal is to tell great stories at the end of the day. I think that there are a lot of artists out there that are amazing, indie artists. Like it's my art team right now, Fabio and Nestor, those dudes are top notch, right? Like they are industry quality. And if anybody in the industry says no, then I'm gonna just be like, you guys are wrong. I don't, you know what I mean? I'll fight for them like that. But if I don't have a good story to anchor what they're doing, then I end up with Wildcats #7. You know, I end up with the stuff that I didn't really like, right? I end up with Youngblood #5, right? Like you know, not staying grounded necessarily, because everybody's like, oh, if you stay grounded and humble, like that's, I don't think a function of business necessarily. I think a function of business and protecting the brand is remembering that the brand is king. Remembering that, like, okay, yeah, there are some times I want to cuss people out, but like, I can't, right? Remembering that, okay, hey, you can do, I had to tell a supporter who had gotten deleted and blocked off of one of my, you know, authors, because he hit up our page and, hey, is this how you guys treat people? And, you know, blah, 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 blah. So that's a brand protection moment. And I had to tell the supporter, look, you can support Wingless Comics and Wingless Entertainment, but that doesn't give you unfettered access to the author. If this author felt that you offended them and they didn't like it, they're well within their rights to delete you and block you. You can still interact with them as an author and as a supporter on the Wingless page, but you don't, that doesn't entitle you. Yes, you gave to our Kickstarter. You got a pre-order. That doesn't entitle you to their personal life. And it's those decisions that make things really rock, right, that really make the difference.
No, that's great advice. I mean, I kind of like, Sam said it, that T-shirt is off the hook. And now that you mentioned all of, you know, you're running this company, Tell me about Justice. What is Justice about?
Justice is an angel. He is the angel. He's the guy, right? Justice is an archangel. He's called the left hand of God. He is the angel of justice. You know how Raphael's angel of healing, Uriel's angel of light. Justice is the angel of justice, and he has a heavenly name, obviously, that will be revealed later. So I don't want to tell it now, but it makes all the difference. But he comes down to earth because the voice of God has gone missing. So God speaks through proxies. I mean, that's like a biblical thing too. Like he speaks through the burning bush. That's not, you know what I mean? So God speaks through a proxy, basically. And that proxy, the voice of God has gone missing. So Justice comes down to earth to find said voice of God, because God himself is ready to speak. And if he does it himself, then he is going to destroy creation and recreate it in an instant. So in order to avoid that, Justice comes down to earth to find the voice of God. Obviously, that is not his only mission. Obviously, that is not his only adventure, but that is where we start. And so he's kind of a fish out of water, man. He's an angel. Like, yeah, he's seen Earth. He's seen these people. Yeah, he's even interacted with them, whether or not they know it. But he's never been, you know what I mean? He's never been a part of the movement of the world. And so he runs afoul of, in issue 1, he runs afoul of a horde of vampires. In issue 2, he runs afoul of a horde of werewolves. And I wonder if there is a connection between the two and a reason for it. Wink, wink.
That's amazing, man. So this is an ongoing series, or I know you wrote the 4 issues you said right off the top, but like, is it ongoing, or are you?
Yeah, it's, oh man, I feel like writers and creatives, we do this all the time. I got 78, 9 issues, you know? Like, I mean, I do. I have the stories written, right? But I like doing them in story arcs. A really good friend of mine, Jason Reeves of 133 Art, 2 years ago, man, at my first con, we were talking about stuff, and he, because my first arc, I was like, man, I'm going Jim Lee, bro. It's 6 issues. It's gonna be this and this and this. And he was like, dude, like, without even knowing, he was like, Indies will do a 6-issue arc, not knowing that might take 6 years to get out. Who wants to wait 6 years for one story arc, right? He was, so that's why I keep mine to like 2 to 3, larger issues. And I was like, that's the smartest mess. Okay. So the first arc of Justice is 4 issues. All 4 issues will be done by next year. So we'll be able to release the trade paperback, and then we'll go into the next 2, and then the cycle begins again.
Nice. Yeah.
I plan on making comics as long as I can make comics, and while they're funded through my pocket, I can make them forever.
Yeah, you've been very successful on Kickstarter. What do you attribute that success to?
One, I want to say thank you, right? And real quick, going back to the Imposter Syndrome, and I am not saying this not as a humble person. I thank you for saying I'm successful, because I don't necessarily, because I want more. I don't always see it like that, right? I see myself as like, okay, we did it, we made it, but like, could we have had more? What did I do wrong to not get more? So I think that for myself and for other creators, when other people say that we are successful, I think that we should in turn thank those people, because we may not always know it, and we may not always feel that.
Right.
I think past campaigns, especially, the algorithm was not working as hard against independent people as it is now.
Yeah.
And I think independent people across the board, don't matter what you're doing, podcasting, comics, books, animation, anything right now, I think that the algorithm is working hard against independent and smaller houses for everything.
Yeah.
So going into our first, 1 or 2 campaigns, Facebook groups are huge, man. There's a lot of visibility, a lot of people in them. You could go in and, you're looking, 10,000 people might see it, and maybe only 20 react, but that's a 20 you're not going to get somewhere else. So I think that was a boon to what we do. And I can see it in the numbers in terms of how many people see what. Original story, I think great art. Again, man, my artists are piggybacking me, Nestor and Fabio. Fabio came in, he's the first guy I ever heard was like, oh, I love drawing wings, and I love drawing this character. It's dope. I was like, are you for serious? What? Because most artists are like, oh my God, I got to do wings now. And Fabio loves to do it. So I think that it's a pretty unique story. and I get that all stories have been told before, right? But what people mean by that is the base story. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl again. That story has been told. How you tell that story is great, and is different. Spawn is just a Faustian story. Like, it literally is Faust, but he's telling it in a different way. So I think that originality helps. I think, again, great art helps. I think that just getting the word out has helped. And we have some really, really insane and loving fans that have supported us and just pushed us forward, which has been amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking at the piece that Fabio did of the Warrior. It has almost a Stephen Platt look to it.
Yeah,
you
man.
know, and I was a big fan of Stephen Platt when he was doing Prophet and Fighting American, and I mean, it was just fantastic. Soul Saga was fantastic. So, how did you cultivate your team?
A lot of DMs asking people to work with me, like, honestly. So I saw a piece that Fabio did, again, in a group somewhere, and I was like, I remember it was middle of the night, right? So I'm just up scrolling, and I see this piece, and I'm like, is everybody sleeping on this dude? Because like it didn't have like a lot of engagement on the piece, and I was like, this is fire, bro. Like, so I hit him up, and I had asked what his commission prices were and stuff, and he hit me back pretty quickly because he's in Brazil, so like the time difference helped. And we got to talking, and I let him know, like, hey man, I want, this kind of a look. I'm a big Michael Turner fan, and Alan Silvestri, and like, I like this kind of style, blah blah blah. Are you capable? And he showed me this piece, and I was like, I tried to keep it under wraps. That's cool. That's all right. Okay, you close. Yeah, right.
You close.
Right. So we had we did a couple pieces. He did like one or two pinups for me. And, I waited, and I was like, hey, man, you think you have time to do a book? Man, I'm thinking about doing part 2, if you want to mess with it. Or he was like, oh, yeah. He was like, I was like, but that'll be like 6 months away. And he was like, oh, damn. I was like, but I got this other project, Nightfall, man. And it's, it's a collab. I'll show him your art and see if it's cool. And then I went to the group like the next day, and I was like, yo, I got the artist. Look, he's willing to do it, blah, 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 blah. We just got to play it cool. And they were like, yeah. Definitely. And man, it's been great. Like, Fabio just has a really good eye. He understands my scripts. I have a scripting format. He loves it. I'm very, meticulous with that kind of a thing, and lots of reference material and pictures and whatever he needs. And so, it's great. And Nestor, who is my colorist, Nestor's been coloring my stuff since, the first few images. And I told him then, just because I liked how saturated his palette was, I liked his color choices. I was like, yo, man, like, if I keep doing this, you're going to be my, my colorist forever. So, like, just buckle up. Whenever I hit you up, just be free. Like, let me know. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he has. He's colored Justice 0, Justice 1, Justice 2, Nightfall 1, 2, and 3. Like, no signs of stopping.
Right.
That's awesome.
It looks like that piece was colored over. Well, it could be inks, but it looked like it was penciled.
It is pencil.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask you, Brian. So, right, you mentioned you have a campaign going on right now. Tell us what that campaign is and what book it's for.
Okay, so the current campaign is for Nightfall Part 3. Obviously, we've had Part 1 and Part 2 that were successful. Story basically is it's a crossover between Wingless Comics and Constantine Comics, and our heroes come together. Merlin is trying to use his ancient secret society to resurrect. It's an Egyptian mythological creature called the Great Devourer, Apep. It's the world serpent. So he wants to bring the world serpent back and basically destroy Earth, and they do their thing. I don't know why villains want to do that, right? The villains want to destroy the planet, and it's like, well, what do you do after, bro? Like, what are you gonna? I'm not sure. I don't know.
I didn't get that
this
far.
Is how villains. Yeah, right. This is how villains act. Like, this is my master. This is what we got to do. Okay, I guess. So our heroes have to come together. It's pretty. So Nightfall is an ambitious project in general. It's a 5-part series. But it's also a dream for me. One, it's a dream because I get to do a crossover with a company that I admire, and we work well together, and a sister company and all of that. Also, I was able to create a character for my sister that she's going to be writing. And as a Black female, right, like she grew up loving Jubilee and those kind of characters, right? But there wasn't one that was like her. Right. So now she gets to write one herself, which is great. And we get to see that like teenage evolution with Lux. I also get to have Justice and Caliburn together in a book, you know, kind of riffing off each other. We brought in Malachi Bailey's Her. Malachi is a writer that's with Wingless, a creator that's with Wingless. He just had his second novel for his character, Her, Gods and Monsters, that's available on Amazon now. So bringing her into the fold, bringing Constant Hustles, Avery the Astonishing into the fold. I also got to, you know, blow the dust off of an old character my brother had created when we were, you know, he was 13 and I was like 8 or something like that, you know what I mean? And you know, that character that you grow up with, he's so cool, and he's like, you realize like maybe he's not as cool as we thought, but we can make him cool again. Right. So getting to write that and bring that to life, you know what I mean? And I think that's what creativity is supposed to be. And I get that this is a business, but when we're talking about entertainment, you're supposed to be, you know, kind of making dreams come alive for people. And so even though like I'm the people that I'm talking about now, it's amazing. And to be able to run this campaign, again, be 3 issues in, now we're at the linchpin. Now we're at the apex here, man. So now we built it. So now we've got you know, 4 and 5, man, it's all conclusion. It's all, hey, the cards are on the table now, you know, who's going to ante up?
Right.
That's right. And for those watching, Nightfall Part 3, The Witching Hour, which is right now on Kickstarter, has already been funded. There, by the time this airs, because this will be airing September 24th, the campaign ends on October 7th. So you still have time to go in there, pledge to this. There are already 91 backers in there. I'm sure there's going to be more by the time this airs. And the $2,500 goal has already been met. And Part 3 of 5. This is exciting stuff, man. We know how hard it is to do a campaign and to keep it up. And this is your 3rd one. So I'm happy that you're getting all of this done. And do you feel like the fan base is growing at this point? Do you see the numbers growing? What's it like right now as far as like the projects and fan bases?
Well, he's had over 250 backers.
Yeah. So I would say like in general, yes, right. And this is when I annoy my girlfriend. This is when I bug my friends, right? Because I look at now and I'm like, we're only at 91, and then they're like, bro, it's been 7 days, right, like, right. And I'm like, but still, you know what I mean? So yeah, I have to remember those parts of it, and it's hard getting out of your own way sometimes. Just, you know, sticking with the marketing strategy and doing what you got to do. So overall, we've seen. There was a thing that I saw on Kickstarter once that was like, your number 1 is always going to be your biggest seller. That's remained true for us. It's not true for everyone. It's remained true for us at the moment. But also when you're going into Kickstarter and you're going as an indie, let's say you're not Sebastian Jones. I'm not Sebastian Jones. This is not a Niobe campaign, right? He can do 76,000 in a day because he's Sebastian Jones with an HBO development deal, right, and on and on and on, right? When you're coming with Wingless Comics and you're starting with Wingless Comics at issue 1, what do you have in issue 1? You have your friends, you have your family, you got that crazy distant relative that doesn't know anything about comics, but it's like, I want to encourage them, so they throw some money at you. So you're going to see the ebb and flow, which we have, right? We saw, 8, and then we saw 6, and then we saw, okay, it kind of metered out at 7. Okay, that makes sense. But again, sometimes, especially a person like myself, I have to step back, and I can talk about this now on a podcast, right? But if you had caught me a month or 2 ago, again, like, I'm just like, no, I don't understand it. Where is 10,000? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And that's part of it, because again, like I said, I want to do more. I want 10,000, and not just for me, right? But I want 10,000 because that means we ship issue 4 along with issue 3. It means that we're hitting these goals and getting the material out there, which is what I want to do. I want to tell the stories. I want to get them out there. I want them to be seen. I want people to love Fabio's art. I want, all of those things.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think Kickstarter and the crowdfunding campaigns have opened up those doors for us, and it's it's about us. Still, you still have to hustle. Just because the platform is there doesn't mean that you just I'm gonna put it out there. Like you said, Sebastian Jones can maybe say, hey, I'm putting it out next week, and there's like 50,000 people waiting for it to launch. You know what I mean? So it definitely is. It definitely is a lot of work, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
When do you think the next Justice book will be out?
So we actually are starting production on the next Justice book. at the end of this month. So we probably won't release until the beginning of 2022, just because, with holidays, I ain't gonna lie, I want to take a little bit of time off. We've been running campaigns kind of nonstop. I'd like to take a month off, kind of to just like enjoy life and be regular for a minute before starting it back up in 2022. We've got a very, very full docket in 2022. We're either going to have Nightfall 4 and 5 or Nightfall 5 coming out in 2022. We're going to have Justice issue 3 and issue 4 coming out in 2022. We're going to have Her issue 1. We're going to have Lux issue 0. We're going to have Immortalis issue 1. We're going to have the Saber Initiative issue 1. So, I mean, like, we've got a pretty full year. It just, we're just going with a vengeance. We're going with madness here. So I want to, we'll take a little short break, a little short rest before we hit the track again.
And you're doing the lettering for all those books, Brian?
Jesus, I hope not.
That's work. That's work, man. That is work.
But maybe I will at least be doing the lettering for Nightfall 4 and 5 and Justice 3 and 4. Everything else is still up in the air. I probably won't be doing the lettering for Saber Initiative, but that'll kind of be it. Like I said, I shouldn't just say I know I'm doing those books, but myself as a part of Rune Makers, which is our go-to lettering team, will do all of those books. Again, hopefully I am not the lead on all of those books, but Rune Makers, our in-house team, will definitely be handling it.
Good. And do you do the lettering out of, like you said, necessity, or is that something that you were passionate about? Who's passionate about lettering? I think you're a graphic designer or something. Do you have some of that in your background, or?
I think honestly, it started as necessity, like my original one, because I wanted something a certain way and didn't look a certain way, and I didn't know how to explain it to the letterer to get it the way I wanted to, and so it started, I think, that way, and it's become a passion. It's become something that I find engaging and fun, and putting the puzzle pieces together of how it should look. And there are a couple different schools of lettering at this point, right? You still have the old school stuff where it's more oval, word bubbles and different word balloons, but now you got the newer style that's more circular, because the manga influences the different types of text and on and on. I like the puzzle. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Also sometimes it's therapeutic. I feel like you said, between the business, between the art, between everything else, sometimes we get lost. And I personally like to find the thing that's therapeutic in all of that, because at the end of the day, I need to keep working on whatever it is, whatever the project is, but I need to work in a way that's conducive to my health and my sanity.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is therapeutic. I mean, like you said, if you like, solving puzzles, that's definitely one way to look at it, because it definitely is a puzzle. Like, where do I put this so that it's not in the way, but you can still, but it flows within the page, because it's got to complement the artwork. You know what I mean? So no, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Nice. So where can people find you on social media? What are your handles?
So you can find all of our social on www.winglessent.com. That's, our website, obviously. You can purchase digital issues there, some merch there. You can see some upcoming projects we got going. That's not only the Wingless Comics world, but it's also the Wingless Entertainment world in terms of, writing and animation and everything else. We are Wingless Comics on Facebook, Wingless_comics on Instagram, Wingless Entertainment on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. You won't likely find me on Instagram. I mean, I have an Instagram, but it's private. I think you got to keep some of your sanity somewhere. Otherwise you just kind of fall into this. Obviously, you can find us on Kickstarter as well. All you got to do is Wingless Comics, and you can find us there. I think that's the gamut. Those are the only ones we use, really. I use is what I should say.
That's awesome. And for those watching, make sure you go to Nightfall on Kickstarter. Just type in Nightfall on Kickstarter. The Witching Hour Part 3 of 5 is on live right now. Help Brian, go blow past that goal. And you know, and hopefully we'll see you back on the show soon, Brian, because this was fun, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Again, I don't think that sometimes as creators we give you guys enough props, because without you, we wouldn't kind of have that voice, and also we wouldn't have somebody to bounce some of the ideas that we have. You know what I mean, and show that interest. So I really appreciate both of you guys for just having me here, man.
Outstanding. Anytime, and let Fabio know we're going to reschedule him, because last time we tried and he had audio issues. But we'll try to get him back on the show again. And anybody from your camp that wants to come down to Catch the Craze, just hit us up.
Appreciate it, and we definitely will. And I'll definitely let Fabio know.
You got it, bro. Thanks. Man. All right.
Thanks, Brian.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks.
Peace.
You got it.
See you guys.
That's awesome.
Yes. So there was another episode on Catch the Craze. It's pretty cool. Guy wears a lot of hats. You know, they're doing really well on Kickstarter. Really, really well. You know, when I was looking at they had 6 campaigns, and you know, over 250 backers. That's pretty dope. This one looks like the last few campaigns they went to 7,000, so it looks like they're trending that direction. So yeah, he's doing all the right things. That's pretty cool.
No, he's definitely doing his thing. He knows what he's doing. He's passionate about it, and it seems like he has a plan, a good plan, and he's not you know, straying away from it. You know, it's working. Let's just keep doing it that way, and find new ways to make it work even better if we are going to stray a little bit. So good for him, man. That was a fun interview. Thank you, Brian, for coming on. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. Make sure you comment.
Hit that sub button.
Sub.
Makes a difference when we know that we have your support. If you're listening to us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, you know, give us a rating. Give us that 5-star rating. Leave a comment. You know, why do you listen to our show? You know, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, and give us that thumbs up. Right? If you like this show, give us that thumbs up, hit that like button. Yeah, and again, don't forget Forbidden launches on November 1st on Kickstarter. The Volume 1 graphic novel. That's gonna be dope. So it's gonna be 3 covers: the graphic cover, the floppy cover for issue 4. Issue 3. Issue 2. Okay, I keep up with this stuff. Issue 2, and the variant cover. So there's only gonna be 3 covers available, and it's gonna be fun. And follow George on.
You can follow me on Get Your Meds with a Z on Instagram. Go to my website, getyourmeds.com, and please make sure you go to Webtoons and subscribe to Russ5377 on there. And go to Instagram and follow The Adventures of Wonder Duck on Instagram, because we got something coming up next year, the Kickstarter, and we'd love for you guys to be a part of it. So yeah, that's what I've got going on.
Word up. With that said, we appreciate every single one of you. I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
George the Junior Medina.
And we are out.
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. Say my name, right? This is what you were thinking? Oh, my. He described me. He said, I'm the
What? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze. On Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.
Candy girl.